Welcome back to Motivational Journey. I will win. Not because life is easy. Not because everything goes my way. But because quitting is not an option for me. I will win because I've decided that failure is only a lesson, not a destination. Winning is not something that happens by accident. It begins as a decision long before it becomes a reality. It's a choice made deep within the heart and mind to never back down, no matter how hard the road becomes. When a person decides to win, they are not waiting for luck, for timing, or for circumstances to favor them. They are declaring that no matter what stands in their way, they will find a way to overcome it. That decision alone separates dreamers from doers, talkers from achievers, and those who wish from those who work. Winning starts with belief, but it lives through commitment. When you make the decision to win, you are setting a standard for yourself. You are saying, I will not settle for average. I will not stop until I reach what I set out to achieve. The world might not hand you easy victories. Life will not always be fair or simple. But the power to rise again, to push forward, to stay disciplined when everything around you is falling apart, that comes from the decision you made long before the challenge appeared. A true winner does not wait for motivation or the perfect moment. They move forward with conviction, knowing that the perfect moment rarely exists. This decision to win is powerful because it changes the way you see failure. When your mind is already set on victory, failure becomes part of the path instead of the end of it. It becomes feedback, not finality. Winners fall down just like everyone else, but their difference lies in their response. They rise quicker, they adjust faster, and they keep their focus fixed on the goal ahead. They understand that deciding to win doesn't mean they will never lose, it means they will never give up. Every setback becomes fuel for the next attempt, and every obstacle becomes a lesson that sharpens their strength. The decision to win also transforms your habits. Once you've made up your mind that you are going to win, you begin to act differently. You start waking up earlier, staying focused longer, and ignoring distractions that once controlled your attention. You realize that time is precious, and every moment wasted is an opportunity lost. Your conversations change, your circle of influence changes, and even your self-talk changes. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I will. The mind becomes your greatest weapon when it's trained to believe in your purpose. Every great achiever in history started with this inner decision. They didn't know all the answers, and they didn't always have the resources. But they had a mindset that said, I will find a way. When Thomas Edison was asked how he kept going after 1,000 failed attempts to create the light bulb, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That is what it means to decide to win, seeing progress where others see defeat. In life, you will face people who doubt you, situations that discourage you, and moments that break you. But none of those things define your destiny. The only thing that truly defines you is your decision to keep going. You have to remind yourself every day, I've already decided I will win. When your body gets tired, when your mind feels weak, when your emotions tell you to quit, your decision will carry you through. It's not about being the best in the world, it's about being better than you were yesterday. So when you look at the challenges in your life, face them with confidence. When fear whispers that you can't make it, let your determination speak loudly. The choice to win is yours. And once you've made it, nothing can truly stop you except giving up. Winning is not written in the stars, it's written in your soul. And once that decision is made, no force on earth can erase it. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, but many people fear it more than anything else. For those who truly live in life understand that failure is not a sign to stop, it's a sign to grow. Every setback, every mistake, every rejection carries a lesson that cannot be learned from success. Failure has a way of revealing who you really are, your strength, your patience, and your hunger. When you see failure as a lesson instead of a defeat, it stops being your enemy and becomes your coach. It pushes you to dig deeper, to analyze what went wrong, and to come back stronger than before. Most people give up after they fail because they think failure defines their worth. They see one rejection and assume they're not good enough. But the truth is, failure doesn't define you, your response to it does. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you can imagine. The difference is, they never stopped trying. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, but instead of quitting, he practiced harder until he became one of the greatest athletes in history. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before returning years later to lead Apple to global success. These examples remind us that failure isn't fatal, it's fuel. It's part of the process that builds wisdom and resilience. When you fail, it means you took a risk. You stepped out of your comfort zone and tried something that mattered to you. That alone is a victory. Too many people avoid failure by avoiding effort. They play it safe, do what's easy, and never test their limits. But those who win understand that growth only happens when you challenge yourself. Each failure brings you one step closer to success because it gives you feedback, real, practical lessons that success can't teach. Success often makes you comfortable, but failure makes you better. Failure teaches humility. It reminds you that you don't know everything and that there is always room to learn. It removes arrogance and replaces it with curiosity. It forces you to evaluate your choices, your discipline, and your focus. When you fall, you have two choices: complain about the pain or learn from it. Winners choose to learn. They take responsibility instead of making excuses. They ask, what can I do differently next time? That mindset transforms every failure into an opportunity for growth. Another powerful truth about failure is that it builds character. When everything goes your way, you don't develop endurance or strength. It's the storms that teach you how to stand tall. It's the tough moments that reveal your true potential. Every time you fall and get back up, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances. You start to realize that failure can't break you unless you let it. That realization gives you an unshakable confidence, because once you've survived failure, you no longer fear it. The most successful people treat failure as a normal part of the journey. They expect it, they respect it, and they use it. They don't see it as a roadblock, they see it as a stepping stone. If you look closely, every great success story has chapters filled with failures. But those failures were not the end of the story, they were the beginning of transformation. The difference between winners and quitters is simple. Quitters see failure as the end, winners see it as feedback. So, when life knocks you down, don't let it convince you that you've lost. Instead, ask yourself what the fall is trying to teach you. Embrace the lessons, adjust your strategy, and get back in the game. Every failure you survive makes you more prepared for the next challenge. The path to victory is never straight, it's full of curves, detours, and dead ends. But those turns are not mistakes, they are directions toward your ultimate destination. Remember, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. You can't reach the top without stumbling along the way. The key is to keep your heart strong and your vision clear. Learn from the pain, grow from the mistakes, and rise each time you fall. Because the one who learns from failure never truly fails, they just get closer to winning. Consistency is the quiet force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It is not the loudest quality, nor the most glamorous, but it is the most powerful. Success is not built on rare moments of greatness, it is built on small efforts repeated day after day. Consistency means showing up even when you don't feel like it, putting in the work when no one is watching, and staying true to your vision even when progress feels invisible. It is the habit of persistence, the discipline of patience, and the faith that every small step matters. Many people start strong but lose their fire when results don't come quickly. They get excited at the beginning, but when the excitement fades and challenges appear, they stop. That's where consistency separates winners from quitters. Motivation might get you started, but consistency keeps you moving. It doesn't depend on emotions, it depends on commitment. You cannot rely on feeling ready every day, but you can rely on your discipline to keep showing up. Greatness is not achieved by occasional bursts of effort, it's earned through relentless, steady progress. Think of a sculptor shaping a statue from a block of stone. Each strike of the chisel might seem small, but over time, those consistent hits create a masterpiece. The same principle applies to life. Every day you stay focused, every time you practice your craft, every extra hour you spend improving yourself, you are shaping your future. You might not see the results right away, but consistency guarantees that progress is happening, even when it's not visible. Success is not about speed, it's about endurance. Consistency also builds trust, with yourself and with others. When you keep promises to yourself, you strengthen your confidence. You begin to believe in your own reliability, and that belief becomes the foundation of your growth. Others, too, start to recognize your dependability. Opportunities begin to come your way because consistency attracts respect. People know they can count on someone who delivers, not just once, but every time. That's why consistent individuals often rise above those who might be more talented but less disciplined. There will be days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. Those are the days that test your consistency the most. Anyone can work hard when life feels easy, but real champions stay focused when it's hard. They understand that success doesn't happen overnight, it's the result of thousands of small, consistent actions. Whether it's waking up early to train, studying when you'd rather rest, or pushing through self-doubt, each act of consistency is a vote for the future you desire. Consistency also creates habits, and habits shape destiny. When you repeatedly choose effort over excuses, your brain adapts. Your actions become automatic. Over time, you no longer have to force discipline, it becomes who you are. This transformation is what leads to lasting success. Temporary effort gives temporary results, consistent effort builds permanent change. Another important truth is that consistency outlasts talent. Talent can give you an advantage at the start, but without discipline, it fades. On the other hand, a consistent person, even with average skill, can surpass someone naturally gifted who lacks persistence. History is full of examples, athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs who weren't the most talented but were the most consistent. They refused to stop improving, and their steady effort carried them to victory. You must also learn to trust the process. Sometimes you will work hard for weeks or months without seeing visible results, but consistency is like planting seeds. You may not see the tree growing beneath the soil, but one day, it will break through and stand tall. Each act of effort, no matter how small, adds up. That's why giving up is never an option, because success could be just one consistent day away. In the end, consistency is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up every single day with purpose, no matter how small the step. The person who stays consistent doesn't need to be the fastest or the smartest, they just need to keep going. Because over time, consistency builds momentum, and momentum makes you unstoppable. When you commit to being consistent, you are making a promise to yourself that you will not stop until you win. And that promise, kept daily, becomes the foundation of all success. Faith is the force that keeps you moving when everything around you tells you to stop. It is the quiet confidence that even when the path is dark, there is still a light guiding your steps. Faith means believing in yourself and trusting that God's plan is greater than your present struggle. It's the voice inside you that says, keep going, when fear screams, turn back. Without faith, every challenge feels like a wall. With faith, every challenge becomes a bridge. It gives you strength not because you can see the finish line, but because you trust that there is one. Fear and faith cannot live in the same space. One paralyzes you, while the other empowers you. Fear whispers all the reasons you might fail, faith reminds you of all the reasons you must try. Fear makes you doubt your potential, faith makes you remember your purpose. Life will always give you moments of uncertainty, times when things don't make sense, when doors close, when dreams seem distant. But that is when faith becomes most powerful. Faith doesn't promise that the road will be easy, it promises that you will not walk it alone. When you walk by faith, you stop measuring your progress by what you can see. You stop expecting immediate rewards and start trusting in the unseen work happening behind the scenes. Maybe things are taking longer than you expected. Maybe the outcome isn't what you imagined. But faith reminds you that delay is not denial. Sometimes the blessings you are praying for require time, growth, and preparation. Faith allows you to stay patient and positive while life unfolds its plan. Faith also gives you courage. It silences the fear of failure, rejection, and uncertainty. When you believe that you are guided by something greater than yourself, you stop being afraid of falling because you know you will rise again. Every great achievement in history was born from faith. The Wright brothers had faith they could fly when everyone laughed at the idea. Nelson Mandela had faith in freedom when the world around him was filled with injustice. Denzel Washington himself often says that his success came from faith in God, faith in his purpose, and faith in the process. Having faith does not mean ignoring fear, it means moving forward despite it. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the presence of fear. When your faith is strong, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions to begin. You start where you are, with what you have, and trust that the rest will come together in time. Faith gives you the confidence to take that first step, even if you can't see the whole staircase. Faith also connects you to gratitude. When you believe that everything happens for a reason, even your struggles become meaningful. You start to see pain as preparation, not punishment. The very moments that once broke you begin to shape you. With faith, you can look at challenges and say, I might not understand this now, but I know it's building me into something greater. That mindset keeps your spirit strong when everything else feels weak. The truth is, fear will always exist. Every dreamer feels it. Every leader battles it. But faith turns that fear into fuel. It transforms worry into wisdom and panic into peace. Fear says, what if it goes wrong? Faith says, what if it goes right? That shift in perspective can change your entire life. In moments of doubt, remind yourself that faith got you this far and it won't fail you now. Keep believing when the odds are against you. Keep praying when you can't see the way forward. Keep trusting that God's timing is perfect, even when yours is not. Because when you lead with faith, everything begins to fall into place, maybe not immediately, but eventually, and always for the best. So, let faith be your anchor in the storm and your compass in confusion. Let it be the light that drives away fear. Because when you choose faith over fear, you become unstoppable. You stop chasing certainty and start creating possibility. You begin to realize that with faith, all things truly are possible. The journey is where the real transformation happens. Winning is not just about reaching the goal or standing on the podium, it's about who you become along the way. Every challenge, every delay, every failure, and every small victory shapes you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient person. People often focus on the result, the trophy, the title, the recognition, but the true value lies in the process that builds the character required to achieve those things. The journey teaches patience, discipline, humility, and gratitude. It molds your mindset and trains your heart to handle both success and struggle with grace. When you start pursuing a dream, you often imagine the finish line. You think about what it will feel like to win, how satisfying it will be to achieve your goal. But as you move forward, life introduces obstacles you didn't expect. There are moments of doubt, times when progress seems invisible, and days when everything feels too hard. Those moments are not there to stop you, they are there to prepare you. The journey tests you to ensure you are ready for the victory you desire. Because if success came too easily, you wouldn't value it. It's the difficulty of the climb that makes reaching the top meaningful. The journey also reveals your true strength. You might not realize how capable you are until you are pushed beyond your comfort zone. When you face challenges and overcome them, you start to see yourself differently. You begin to trust your own resilience. Every setback that you survive becomes proof that you can endure and grow. You stop seeing problems as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities to improve. The process teaches you that pain has purpose, that struggle shapes strength, and that growth never comes from ease. Every step you take on your journey builds your story. The early mornings, the long nights, the sacrifices you make when no one is watching, these moments define your character more than the final win ever could. Because the truth is, success without struggle is empty. The reward only feels real when you know how much it costs to earn it. The journey teaches you to appreciate effort, to respect time, and to find pride not only in the outcome but in the persistence that got you there. The process of becoming a winner is never linear. It's full of ups and downs, victories and losses, confidence and doubt. But in each phase, you learn something new about yourself. You learn patience when progress slows, courage when fear rises, and humility when success finally arrives. You discover that the real reward is not what you achieve but the person you become in pursuit of it. You evolve from someone who dreams into someone who does. That transformation is the real win. It's also important to understand that the journey never truly ends. Every milestone leads to another mountain to climb. The hunger to grow, to become better, never fades. Winners never stop learning because they know growth is infinite. The more they achieve, the more they realize how much more they can do. The journey keeps them grounded, reminding them that greatness is not a destination, it's a lifestyle built through continuous effort and learning. When you finally reach